So, as you know, I was starting to work on the color charts in oil paints. But as I was going along reading this book by Betty Edwards on color, she suggests starting by making a color wheel. And so another thing I wanted to say is that Betty Edwards has been teaching college level classes in art and color theory for many years. And there's a classic text, I forget the author, David, I think something, but what you do is you cut out colored papers and use those for the projects and exercises in the textbook. And this was standard curriculum and this textbook. But after the students did these projects, she didn't see and they didn't notice much improvement in their painting when they started painting. So she decided to try randomly forgetting about that book in the curriculum and switching to actually painting their own color charts and color wheels, digging right in and doing it all by scratch. And then she noticed vast improvements in all her students, and her students noticed the same thing. So she came to the conclusion that there's a lot of usefulness in making your own color charts and your own color wheel. Now, she also has 9 colors, which she says are the most pure for mixing. And the problem with oil paints is that they're always going to be limited by their chemical makeup. So they're not necessarily going to be the most pure colors that you can see in real life. But she has the 9 that she uses, and she says you can do the charts in either acrylic paint or oil paint. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to do it in oil paint, but I'll tell you the 9 colors that she suggests using. And I actually don't have all those colors, so I'm going to use some substitutes for some of them. So first of all, as you know, on the color wheel, and the nice thing about the color wheel, when it finally, the one that we commonly use, there are quite a few that have been made over time, but the one by Moulton is the one that is most common. And the nice thing about it is that it's on a wheel, and because some were made in cubes or triangles in different shapes, but this one, it's nice because you see its complement across from it. And she wants to also make sure that people know that complement is not spelled with an I but with an E, that it's a complement. It's not the complement like these colors look good together, like are harmonious or just they get along well. It's basically you have the 3 primary colors of red, yellow, and blue, and the complements make that whole of red, yellow, and blue. So for example, across from green is red, but red is one of the primary colors. Green is blue and yellow, which are the other 2 primary colors. So you put those together and you've got a complete or a complement, a complementary color. Same with yellow, purple, blue, and orange. So on the color wheel, you have the primary colors, the secondary colors, and the tertiary colors. And so that's an exercise that I'm going to do today. And I don't have the exact colors that she uses, so I'm going to have to substitute some. I'll tell you what the colors are. Okay, so the colors that she wants you to use are titanium white, ivory black, cadmium yellow pale, cadmium orange, cadmium red medium, alizarin crimson, cobalt violet, ultramarine blue, and permanent green. So I don't normally put a black. I don't even know if I have one available. I do have cadmium yellow pale. I don't have an orange, but I have a cadmium yellow light, which is can give that warm hue. So I can use that for my orange. I have a cadmium red medium. I have a pyrroline crimson. I can use that. Cobalt violet I don't have, but I have a mineral violet, which is a little warmer, so it's not going to be the same hue. Ultramarine blue I don't have a permanent green, but I have a viridian green. I'm going to use that. It's the closest green I have. So yeah, let's make our color wheel. When I got down to my studio, I found an emerald green, which I think is actually a little closer to the permanent green. It's a phthalo green, so I'm going to use that on my color wheel instead, and that's the cadmium red light I'm going to use for orange and my mineral violet. So it won't be exact, but it'll be close enough for this little project. And I dare say, well, first of all, I feel a little embarrassed that this is the first time I've actually done this, being that I painted for a decade. I have had pictures of color wheels on my wall and available for reference. I hardly ever look at them. But there are so many benefits, like I mentioned, of making your own. And just seeing the colors work, and just the pride in the process. Honestly, I have to say, to me, that's one of the most important parts of this project is just the pride you will feel when you're done. And but there is more than that. There is an element of a foundation, and that foundation is good even if you haven't I mean, if you're a professional, you went through college for art, it's good to go back and review. So I would challenge, no matter what your level, that this is worth doing and doesn't take much time. I made mine smaller. My compass wouldn't go any larger, so it's not a very large color wheel. So it doesn't have to be very big. This is a special oil painting paper. I was going to do it on paper that was like, well, it was the paper I do my prints on, so it was like cardstock weight. But I decided I preferred to use oils, and I'll just stick with the oil paints. So here we have the primary colors laid, and now I'm laying the secondary colors. And so it's interesting that we're not literally mixing this red and this blue, that we're using the violet right out of the tube for the violet to keep it more pure, a pure hue. The cadmium red and the ultramarine blue are not going to mix a very pure purple or violet. And that's, again, one of the limitations of these oil paints, and why mixing is so important, so you can see what they actually do. And it is as basic as doing scales when you sing, warming up before you run, doing bar work in ballet, or what else? I don't know. I lost my train of thought. It's very late at night, and my throat is a little sore. I've been drinking lemon water with honey in it all evening. But basically, I was saying this is as fundamental as warming up and just having this knowledge right at your fingertips. And if you feel like you've been painting so long that you don't need to do this, that's what I thought. But I realized after doing this that this was really informative, not only on a mental level, but just a visceral level and a tactile level, I dare say. And I did run into a trouble here with this tertiary color, which is the violet mixed with the red. I did try to literally mix these two colors and it just made brown. And so I realized that this isn't going to work. And so I took some peony, which is, I couldn't find my alizarin or my pyroline crimson. So, and that's one of the colors she had mentioned. So I decided I would use the peony, which is basically quinacridone, and is a cool red that will give a more accurate hue for a violet red. And Betty talks in this book about color, how to dull colors and muddy them. And so, you know, the color I had laid down might be a great color for something on a painting. It's just that it's not accurate for a color wheel and wasn't reading very accurately. And this one I'm laying very thin because it looked black. I actually really thinned it down just so you could see some of the color shine through with the white background. This one's a little thicker. Okay, the last one is a fun color, the green and yellow together. So one of the aspects of this is, one of the nice things about this is it's good to, Betty challenges us to keep it, to memorize it, and memorize what's across. So again, memorize the complementary colors and or the complement, I should say, and then to be able to just find colors. For example, this is the color of a brown paper bag. So what's it made of? So here it shows the orange plus white and with a little bit of blue. So that's similar to this. So what hue is it? It's from the yellow. This is a piece of copper ribbon, and it is, I believe it's close to the red violet. And you can see kind of the coolness in it here. This is closest to the blue. This is yellow, but it's got a tinge of green in it. This is red going towards violet, and this is a yellow-green, and this is, it depends on if you want to look at the yellow, it's got several colors. This is the beginning of my color charts. So the color chart talks about hue, which is the pure color, but now I'm going to do the color charts where I'm working on values as well as intensity. So stay tuned for future videos that show some of the work I'm doing, and I hope that you enjoyed and learned something from this video. If you aren't a subscriber, please subscribe and like this video.